Hello everybody, this is Raghuraman, Superintendent, Additional Director General Audit, Bangalore Zonal Unit. This video talks about the quality assurance review which is normally conducted by the zonal units of the Director General of Audit on the commissionerates. The audit aspect is being looked into thoroughly. Every single aspect of an audit is being monitored and reported upon. Now, I am very specific with regard to the issues which are normally found in the audit files of the commissionerate. Now, what happens here is the audit files which are actually portraying the efforts done by the audit team does not come out with many issues with regard to the audit. Now, while scrutinizing these audit files, certain smaller issues which come up which may affect the performance of that particular commissionerate. Even though their recoveries might be good, their audit issues might have been really very well appreciated, their performance per se is so nice, but whereas their documentation will pull them down in their ranking. In many such issues, we have seen that specific areas are not addressed properly. So we are putting in an effort to bring up what exactly is expected out in these audit files from the audit groups. So let us see into the issues one by one. First thing is selection of audits. Now, a particular unit is selected for audit, that there is a specific guideline that to bring out the reasons of the audit selection has to be very clearly mentioned in the audit file. The most important thing here is the local risk parameters which have been applied to select that particular unit should also be brought in the file. Now, explicitly writing the risk parameters, basis of selection definitely helps us guide the team towards the efficient audit. Now, apart from selecting the units, now we have the next area is the desk review. The most important thing is the SSE master file. Many a times in the quality assurance review, we have seen that SSE master file is a sub-file of the main audit file. There is no separate SSE master file maintained in the planning cell. Now what happens here, every single audit, one SSE master file is created. Because when I go for audit, I collect last 3 years data and I put it in a file which is kept along with my audit file. Now in that particular file, I also file all the evidences which I have collected towards the audit observations which I have raised. Now whatever I see as an audit observation, I immediately collect so many documents pertaining to that particular audit observation and put that in the file along with the documents which are supposed to be in the SSE master file. Now beyond this, we don't even, in many cases, we don't even see an SSE profile being created or updated. Now the master file, because the original master file has the SSE profile and there are sub files which are attached to the audit file which don't have the SSE profile at all. The working papers are never filed in the SSE master file. The minutes of the meeting have to be searched in the audit file. Yes, definitely those things can always be done. It is not that it cannot be found. All those things are available, but the SSE master file is not at all in existence. It is only the sub-files of the SSE master file are looked into as SSE master file. It is only the subfiles of the main audit file are looked into as SSE master files. Going beyond than the SSE master file, the regular desk review. Now here we have seen many small issues like the trend analysis. Now the revenue trend analysis has been done, but the interpretations are never discussed. Why there is an increase in the reasons for the increase or decrease in the SENVAT percentage or in the revenue percentage or in the production clearance area is never discussed. The information collected with regard to such increase or decrease, whether it is because of any rate change or any classification issue or any new exemptions have come in, or whether the SSE has gone in for an export, what exactly has happened? So those things need to be discussed in the desk review. That portion is never done. This is with regard to trend analysis. But what about the rupee risk analysis or the revenue risk analysis? In so many places, we have seen cryptic answers like revenue risk analysis done, and a certificate is also given stating that no discrepancy is found. Now, what exactly is the result of that particular analysis need to be documented, and that is what is very much expected when we do a quality assurance review. The result of that particular analysis should be documented, and if at all, if any adverse ratio or adverse result seen in that particular analysis, that particular portion need be documented and should also reflect in the audit plan. So this being the most important phase of documentation, which is very closely monitored while doing a quality assurance review. Now beyond this, the evaluation of internal controls. Yes, I do accept that evaluation of internal controls is done only in cases where it is a large central excise unit or in a large taxpayers unit. Now in those issues, definitely more elaborate documents are requested upon, because what happens is it is only that some simple documents are collected and filed. That is a cycle, like a purchase cycle or a sales cycle is taken up, and those documents are filed in the sub-file of the audit file. But whereas the discussion with regard to the route which it has taken in the process, those things are never discussed in the desk review. This is with regard to the large units. Let us take the issue of the smaller units and the service tax units. These need to be updated at least before the draft audit report is finalized. Now what happens is that portion which is left blank during the time of desk review, that is the evaluation of internal controls with respect to the service tax units and the medium and small units of central excise, what they do is they are not specifically done with regard to evaluation of internal controls. The documentation portion is always blank at that particular file. Now beyond this, a complete working papers list is very much required. Before going into working papers, let me discuss about the audit plan also. Now the audit plan normally does not touch many specific areas which are in relation to that particular unit. Maybe it is a commodity specific, it is a service specific, an industry specific, or the unit specific itself. So many times what happens is these issues are never discussed in the file. So to say that the person who reviews the file does not have any information whether the auditor has looked into this particular issue or not. When it is not explicitly mentioned in the file or in the working paper or not brought out in the final or draft audit reports, the person who reviews the file is not in a position to comment on whether the person has attempted to analyze and report on these issues. Because of that, maybe they get a negative marking in this particular area. So please be careful while drafting your audit plan and bring out the objections which are discussed in the desk review. Definitely there is a chance of getting newer issues. I don't say that newer issues are not there, and the structure is always put in place but also is flexible. Please understand that the structure is flexible. Newer points and newer areas can always be explored, but please document all these issues. Now, one more thing. On the other side, if at all in an audit plan, a particular issue is not verified, please document why the area has not been verified. Bring out that particular reason in the verification paper. I think verification paper we have spoken about a lot. The conduct of the audit reflects every single aspect of your audit is coming out only in the verification paper. So the verification paper and the working paper talks about the audit which has been performed. Otherwise, these things don't explicitly tell us that all the areas of audit have been covered. It is not only the subjects which we talk about in the audit plan, like areas like CENVAT or classification or valuation, whatever it is. I'm not talking about the subjects at all, but the areas like desk review has not been completed. In desk review, analysis is not done. Evaluation of internal controls are not done. So those are giving really wrong pictures that the audit is not done comprehensively. So please do document, because the person who visits or reviews your file definitely should be in a position to also know that you have done the job. After doing all the job and getting maximum recovery or detection, I will still stand in a position where my file may not be rated as a complete file. So please don't get into such a situation. Beyond the verification paper, as I told you, the working papers, again and again we have been talking about this particular thing. It is definitely a large, voluminous documentation, but start the documentation right from the beginning of the audit so that you can complete it by the end of the audit. Don't have it. There is a practice, as we have seen, that the working papers are done after the audit. Maybe it is not practically possible for many persons to do it right from the beginning, but unless otherwise you document, you will forget many incidences, many issues, and left out many areas. So this should never happen as far as the working papers are concerned. Beyond this, reporting. We all know how important reporting is, because the job basically with regard to reporting is to follow the format, to bring out all the observations and make people understand what is your actual objection. There are many places where we have seen 4-liners as objection, which doesn't come up with the contravention, the issue is not very clear. On perusing certain records, they start with this particular phrase. Now when somebody says that on perusing certain records, what is the record you have perused? What exactly is the audit objection? From where you have got? It is found to be objectionable and contravention of the rules. In contravention of the rules, which rule have they contravened? The specific reasons and the rules are never quoted in this audit objection. If our own officers who are aware of the rules, aware of the situations also are not in a position to understand these four-liners, how SSC will come out with a reply? We are all definitely in a position to complete the audit in time, document the whole thing within the reasonable time, and then don't take more time in finalizing an audit report. Because in many instances we have seen after the monitoring committee decisions have been taken, the reports are delayed. So it is a phenomenon across the country. Please don't allow such things to happen, because these things may bring down your valuation.